So I guess we're back in
sunny Seattle.
Sunny Seattle. How's it to be back?
Great. Everybody's happy to be back, and I know it was warmer in Spain, but it's nice coming out here. It's good. Good to be home.
How would you assess your satisfaction with the time in Spain?
I would say that this camp has been one of the most productive that we've had in quite some time.
What did you like about it?
Just training, physical portion of it. I'll get into Albert. I mean, Albert's got a little tweak in his quad. When we got him back, we did a scan just because he's a vital part of our team. But just reading him, and Albert might make it back for Antigua. Maybe Charlotte is probably the safer bet, but only one injury. Getting both groups, the quality last game. The last games that we had were really good. Really good quality from both squads. We were very pleased.
Since you mentioned Albert and Reed, can you give a formal update on their health?
Well, Reed's it's his other hamstring, and again, formally it's Albert's right quad. Just a little tweak in the very top part of it. He's going to be day-to-day. He'd probably wait till after the Louisville game to come back and join bits of training. But again, I want to be cautious with him. I can't afford to lose him early in the year just because he wants to play.
It seems like with the way you guys have been playing this year, one of Jordan, Jesus, Pedro, or Albert was probably there wasn't an obvious way for all four of them to be on the field together right away. Does it make it a little easier to bring them along slowly when you I assume you feel good about the way you've been playing?
I feel good about the depth of the squad. The depth of this team is one of its strengths. We have true competition at multiple spots. So for me as a coach, for us as a coaching staff, it's great.
Brian, going back to your last preseason games, you were mildly irritated by the defense because the goals you gave up.
Well, look, I was mildly irritated because I don't like losing. I don't like the way we give up goals sometimes when it's an individual mistake. Sometimes you got to let that go. I mean, maybe at the time I was irritated, but things are going to happen. It's preseason. I mean, the goals we gave up weren't because of any sort of tactical team breakdown shape. It was a couple of individual mistakes. And I'll use the last goal against Hammersby as an example. We were in control of the game. They got a first goal, 2-1, made it a little tighter. But our whole preseason was about pressing and how do we press and when do we press with three and all of those little nuances. And Georgie wanted to do what the coach told him to do. And then Alec came a little bit late. The Reed was a little late. And so, we got stretched a little bit. They came down and scored. But I'm not going to kill Georgie for doing what I told him to do. So in my mind, it's just a learning tool. We show him the tape, and if it would have been a real game, we would have dropped off and killed the game.
Transition's important on this team. Can you just talk about how important the build-up you need for them to understand? They probably are the build-up, then that leads to multiple players in the box. What's your assessment?
Again, that was one of the items that we were going to work on because last year we didn't score enough goals. Again, I think we scored a lot of goals in preseason. I think that work speaks for itself.
And then on Wednesday, what do you need to see?
Final tune-up. Again, 90 minutes. I like the fact that Adam's done a great job that we have 2 90-minute scrimmages before our first competitive match. So I think the fitness staff has done a great job of the planning of preseason. And, just, again, no injuries, good 90-minute run out for the guys. And, we'll run both squads out to get 90 minutes.
Obviously, with how aggressive you guys have been, both committing numbers offensively and defensively, there is a little bit of that gamble at times where maybe you guys might be a little too high. That's what I wanted to ask you. Is it a design risk, or is it just...
We still defend and attack in 3-2. We still play with 2 pivots. Do we rotate a pivot up higher? Yes. But getting the 2 wingbacks involved, it's just a little bit different shape on paper But if you looked at our team from last year to what you're going to see this year, it doesn't look that much different.
So that your line is not higher than it was last season?
Well, we've always pressed high. We press high on goal kicks. We press high to run a play. Mid-block, we wait for the triggers to press. We've always been a pressing team.
When you talk about productive training camp, can you go a little further into why? Is it players learning each other? Is it more maybe older players that you get more done?
I think just because I think the understanding of a new formation already we grabbed their attention. So that was part of it. So they're in tune. They're like, oh yeah, okay, we got to learn. And the film sessions were good. There's talk. There's communication there. And then look, just the influence of, Jesus coming, Paul, 2 good pros. Pedro has been very, very good. He wants to prove that he can, help the team win. You've got senior guys like JP that are coming back that are pushing. Christian Obed, Danny Leyva there. Josh has a new position, so he's into it. So a lot of guys are just into it.
Mm-hmm. And then you mentioned Jesus fits in with anybody. Can you kind of describe why?
He and Obed were roommates in Spain. They're thick as thieves. The way we operate is always we try and integrate all the new players. We had some, team bonding stuff over in Spain. He fits in great.
You go all the way back to 2016 when you took over, but even especially since 2018, this has been a very stable roster. There's a lot of turnover, or a lot of players who have been around for a while. How important, or how helpful is it to do something like do a tweak to the formation like you're doing this year to sort of keep things fresh and to keep people's mind sharp and just for the sort of the exercise of
I don't know if that's the reason why we did it, Jeremiah. I understand your question. I think just the way this group lines up, again on paper, because we haven't played any real competitive matches yet, we felt that this formation could work. Last year, Georgie and Pedro at the end and Paul were true wingers in a 4-2-3-1. I think Pedro's strengths, he can come inside. I think Jesus, I want to play him next to Jordan to get him close. Albert plays in the pocket. I think we have some guys that in that middle attacking part of the field are going to be very effective. So where was our width going to come from? Well, it seemed to us that wingbacks are kind of a logical step in that direction. Again, let's see if it works. We can always go back to 4-2-3-1. I still might go back to 4-2-3-1 for certain opponents. We'll see.
Brian, the prevailing, this soccer thing going out there is you can change the different formations, but what matters is the players that you have in there. So can you talk about the depth you have? You have the formation, you can keep the same formation. When you put different players, it's actually a different type of
Different
attack
look,
or
yeah.
different look.
Sure. And that's what's going to give us an advantage. If I would take, 2 players, let's say Jesus and Georgie.
Right.
Okay, 2 totally different players, but we've been playing them both kind of in that right pocket. But Jesus stays there and goes closer to Jordan and can play in between the lines. But when Georgie plays there, defensively he starts here, but offensively he's the widest guy on the field on that side, and we rotate a guy up. So that type of flexibility in game, week to week, midweek games is going to help us, so opponents can't really, dial into us and prevent us from scoring goals.
Anywhere to when Kinky will be arriving?
Right now, his appointment is, I believe, for the 19th, but I know we are trying to expedite and get a sooner appointment, but I think that is the very last day that he would show up.